Hello my dear friends, you're on the Military Summary channel, and today we will discuss the situation in Ukraine on the 9th of September. Today we have a lot of very interesting updates, so let's start. Today we will discuss the situation on the front lines, the situation on the Balakleya Izum defense operation, how the Russians call this situation. And also today I will tell you my own opinion about this counter-offensive operation of the Ukrainians, about the situation like in the global scope. And I will start with my opinion about the situation. And I must say that it's my opinion. You won't find this information, this opinion on any other source, like my own understanding of the situation. I must say that this Ukrainian counter-offensive operation from Slobozhansk-Andreevka towns in direction of Kupyansk, it's my opinion, and it's no speculations from my side. From my opinion, it's the best ever situation for the Russians in this military special operation. If you remember when the Ukrainians started this operation, when it was 2 days ago, I prepared my video, and my first phrase was take a deep breath and let's start. So right before all this situation, we saw this counter-offensive operation of painting the titles of the towns and so on. I told you, take a deep breath, because now very interesting situation is going to happen. There was no panic yesterday. There was a small panic from my side, because not even a panic, but we saw the developing of the Ukrainians on their bridgehead, and I asked myself, if everything's so bad, why the Russians didn't destroy the bridges in this back why they didn't stop this counter-offensive operation. It was some kind of question that we see what we see, but I understood yesterday that there are a lot of things that we don't see and don't understand. And today I thought a lot about the situation, and I came to the conclusion that this counter-offensive operation is the best ever situation for the Russians in this area. Yes, they lost a lot of territories. Territories is not so important. Territories is the last thing in this situation. Even soldiers from the Russian side is the last thing in this situation. The only thing I care about, like a person who follow this situation, is not army, not territory expansion and so on. The most important thing from my side is people from Balakleya, let's say. You need to understand that since this town was taken by the Russians in March, and a lot of people started cooperate with the Russians. If we're talking about the Ukrainians, they call them collaborators. And today I saw a lot of messages in the common local Telegram channels where the Ukrainian military authorities required and asked for people to provide information who worked with the Russians. So we can say that there was, at least these days, today, yesterday, there was almost the same situation, at least the beginning of the same situation that we saw in Bucha. You need to understand that if Ukrainians found anybody who cooperated with the Russians, don't think that they will have like a mercy, or they will have a fair judge or something like this. I don't believe this. I'm not saying that something bad is going to happen with them, but I don't want to speculate. But anyway, this process, the Ukrainians are calling this process, and the Russians as well, they're calling this process filtrating. So they're doing filter in these towns, trying to filtrate the population, trying to understand who cooperated with the Russians and who didn't. So this is the worst situation if we're talking about the global scope. It's a war. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. The Russians lost some territory, and for now, my opinion is that, to tell the truth, the Ukrainian, as you can see the Western sources map, they managed to develop a very nice progress. But if you take a look at this map, we understand that the Ukrainians now in very big danger. Because I'm for 100% sure that everybody from you saw a lot of videos of endless convoys from the Russian side who were heading in the direction of Kupyansk and Izum. Endless convoys of tanks, of armored vehicles. I suppose that everybody saw the Mi-26 helicopters who were bringing tanks and armored vehicles. Helicopters were bringing tanks and armored vehicles on the front line. And they were bringing them not somewhere here like Nizhny Duvanka or Svatova. They were bringing them on the line, on the zero line. I must say that, and I'm sure I see this. It's my opinion, no speculation. Like I today created new verb in English. I'm not pro-Russianing. I'm not pro-Ukrainianing. I'm telling the thing that I see, and I see that the front line has been stabilized totally. Today, now let's talk about updates and so on. First of all, as you can see, the Western source map has been updated. If we take a look at the Russian source map, you're gonna see even worse picture if we're talking about the expansion. But if we're talking about the strategic situation, we see that I can't say that the Russians have very big problems. I must say that Ukrainians have very big problems. They achieved very big success. Now they need to storm Kupyansk. And today we heard about updates that the Ukrainians made few attempts of doing this. Furthermore, I'm sure that everybody saw pictures on the suburbs of Kupyansk like this one, where the Ukrainian soldiers made a photo in front of this construction. It's like the title of the town, and usually everybody know that when you're leaving the town or entering the town, such constructions are put right in front of entering the town. So they were there. So they were in Kupyansk, the Ukrainians. But later they were defeated in this position. They were forced to leave. Furthermore, the Ukrainians managed to get town by the name of Senькова, this one of the most important area in this situation. I will explain to you why. First of all, let's take a look at this map. You see that Kupyansk is the railroad logistics center. As you can see, there is a railroad that enters the west part, but the railroad station is on the east side, on the Russian side. And after that, this railroad moves to the south, to this area, and after that it moves to Borovaya, and from Borovaya it crosses the river in direction of Gorokhovatka, and starting from this area we are talking about the strategic area of Izum support and supply. This town is one of the most important town in this configuration of this front line. So the Ukrainians managed to enter Senькова, this town, and the sources from this area were saying that because of the fact that this dam on the south, this one, was destroyed even in April or May, where the Russians started their offensive operation, the level of water in this area are very low. It's very low, so that's why the Ukrainians do really have possibilities to cross this river even without building pontoon bridges, and they don't need this bridge. They can cross this river on their vehicles. It's not a problem, at least in this area. But if we take also, that's one important update. We see this map, but you need to understand that we can say that Ukrainian develop can be split in two parts, and the Western sources map provided us such a thing. There is, like, as you can see, the white area, and you can see there is like a gray cloud. We can say that now the Western source map can update the gray cloud till the area of this line. What does it mean, gray cloud? That means that the Ukrainians, in perspective of this situation, we can say that all artillery systems and armored tanks and vehicles is on the left side from this arrow. The main number of these systems. And if we're talking about the commandos, scouts, everybody is on the right side of this line. So this area is entirely totally full with commandos, scouts, and a lot of them. So these such kind of scouts entered this town, but they couldn't keep this area. And today we got some updates from the Russians that all the force, that reinforcement that they bring on this area, immediately started their counter-offensive operation, and they attacked Ukrainians in this area. And the Russians are saying that somewhere in the middle of this day they managed to return town Siniha, this small town. Fyodorovka also was under Russian control somewhere in the middle of this day, and also Lesna Stinka, this town, was under Russian control. So everything on this side, near this river. Furthermore, today we got a lot of updates that the Ukrainians in this area split it into parts. One part were moving in direction of Kupyansk. This is the capital of Kherson district on the Russian territory, on the Russian controlled territory. Another group moved in direction of this town, trying to blockade this area and trying to blockade the railroad and the road in this area. And the third group of commandos moved to the south in direction of Gorokhovatka, this one. And some sources were saying that they managed to enter this town and managed to establish control over this road, but the Russians from Izum area sent their reinforcement, And even somewhere at the middle of the days, there were reports that these Ukrainian forces were encircled. There were around 60 commandos and few armored vehicles. They were encircled, and after that, for now, I don't know their destiny. Maybe they were destroyed or killed, or maybe they managed to break through and to retreat in the direction of on their mainland, we can say. Oh, by the way, by creating this video, as you can see, the map has been updated. Now, as you can see, the gray area is bigger. And as you can see, the real control of Ukrainians, where they have armored vehicles, artillery, and tanks. We can say that this is the area where the Ukrainians have this weapon. Furthermore, today we got updates that Shevchenkova has fallen. This is the town that located between two rivers. The guys were fighting there for a very long time, but the Ukrainians cracked the Russian defense near Volkhov Yar, and they managed to attack Shevchenkova from the south and from the east. So that's why the Russians were forced to leave this area and they moved to the north. And as you can see now, we have like a road from Chuguyev to Kupyansk, and now the Ukrainians are able to send their tanks, armored vehicles in broad frontline attack in the direction of Kupyansk. And the Ukrainians did this. And also somewhere at the middle part of the day, we got updates that the Russians destroyed the dozens, well, I would say like the few convoys, maybe like I can't say like a few, maybe 5, 3, I don't know the real number of Ukrainian armored vehicles convoys, but the Russian aircraft destroyed everything that were heading from Chuguyev in direction of Kupyansk. Furthermore, somewhere in the middle of the day, we saw and we heard updates that there were tank battle in front of Kupyansk. The Ukrainians tried to storm this town using tanks, but also were defeated. And mainly they were defeated because the Russians destroyed the reinforcement that were heading from the Chuguyev in this direction, and they were forced to go back. Now this map has been updated one more time. So, furthermore, important updates are coming from Balakleya, from this town. We had the Ukrainian Ministry of Defense report yesterday. We had this report today, and since during these days, we haven't heard from the Ukrainian side that they managed to establish final control over Balakleya. Furthermore, more and more sources are saying that the Russians still in the east part of this town. There is still some road that connects Morozovka and Balakleya, this road P78, and that the Russians still keep this area hold, and they have possibility to move more and more forces in this direction. So as I told you, situation is critical. Situation sometimes is very panic, and a lot of Russian sources was panic yesterday, very panic. But anyway, the situation is controlled by the Russians. And I repeat myself, today you saw the convoys of the Russians who were heading in this direction. This is the grand battle for Donbas. And as I told you, this is the best ever situation for the Russians in this Ukrainian conflict. Yes, they lost a lot of territories, but believe me, this situation, yes, there was a lot of losses among soldiers. There will be a lot of soldiers lost among civilians who cooperated with the Russians on this territory. But anyway, it's better than trying to crack the town by the name of Kadima for months, or cracking Piesky for months, or I don't know, battle for Seversk. The Russians took control over Lysychansk agglomeration maybe in June or even the end of May, I don't remember. And since that time, they can't even take Verkhnykamenskaya. So this is not a war, and everybody understands this. And this counter-offensive operation from the Ukrainian side is the present for the Russians, believe me. Yes, I'm not saying that Ukrainians are going to lose. No, they can win. Easily they can do this. They easily can do this, believe me. But if the Russians are saying that they are second army in the world, and if you're talking about Europe, that means it's first army in Europe, they need to show something. They need to show the real army. And believe me, they will do this. Today, about the situation in this area, the Russians started heavy shelling Chuguyev, this town. There was a lot of explosions, and tomorrow is supposed we're going to receive numbers about the losses of Ukrainians in this area. I suppose that the numbers is going to be very big. The Russians are saying that they haven't seen such bombing of Kharkiv area since the beginning of the special operation. The Russians sent everything they have in this area. Furthermore, today we got from the Russian sources, it's not my information, not my opinion, I got information from the Russian sources, from very famous Russian sources. Today we got at least the second confirmation of the special operation that the Russians attacked one more time hospital where the Ukrainians were trying to heal the Ukrainian Ukrainians who were wounded during this operation. Furthermore, by this morning we got update that Ukrainians during the 2 days lost up to 2,000 of Ukrainians. Just it's killed, not like wounded. Kiev lost, the retreat just killed, or up to 2,000. I'm not talking about the wounded in these 2 days of operation. And the Russians attacked the hospital where the Ukrainians trying to heal these soldiers who were involved in this operation. It's what the case. I can't provide you any pictures or video, but I read this information on some Russian sources. This about Kupyansk, Balagan, as you can see, but the most important that the front line is stabilized, and now the Russians are going to start counter-offensive operation. The situation is perfect. They can do this from the north, from the west, from the east, from the south, and they are able to encircle at least up to 10,000 of Ukrainians. And of course, it's going to be a very big victory. But today we got a lot of very interesting updates from the area between Slavyansk and Seversk. This morning we got update that Ukrainians managed to collect up to 2,500 soldiers near Seversk. It was the feast, and their main goal of these forces near Seversk was to attack Kremenная, this town. So let's take a look at the Western source map. So the Ukrainians were planning from Serebryanka to attack town by the name of Kremenная, this one. And the main goal of this attack, of course, to blockade the Russians, who is located Lysychansk, Severodonetsk, Rubizhnoye, like to prepare to build like frontline area with 2,500 soldiers. There is a river to establish control over this town, over the river, and not to allow the Russians reinforcement from this area to help them in this bridgehead. There was 2,500 soldiers, but these forces were spotted by the Russians, and we got report that the Russians did massive artillery attack in this area. They didn't give us any number. I suppose that they're still counting or trying to understand the real loss of Ukrainians, but I think that they will provide us this information. And the Ukrainians' attack order was destroyed in this area, and there was no more information about this front line. Furthermore, if you remember, we discussed that Ukrainians started crossing Severodonetsk River in direction of Lyman. We got a lot of video information that Ukrainian commanders were in Ozerное, Bruskovka, Stary Caravan, and of course the main purpose was to understand whether the Russians are there. And as far as I understand, they got the information they need, and today we got an update that Ukrainians collect around a lot of forces, up to 3,000 or 5,000 soldiers near Slavyansk and Mykolaiivka, and their main idea is to attack, to cross here, attack Lyman. To cross the river, to attack Lyman, and to try to encircle Izum bridgehead from the east side. And after Lyman, these forces are planning to develop their offensive operation in this area and like to encircle the biggest Russian army in the Izum bridgehead. So this is the plan, and the Ukrainians are trying to implement this plan these hours. But I'll repeat myself. I think everybody saw the endless convoys of Russians who were heading in this direction. The Russians are not sending their reinforcement from the east of Ukraine. Maybe some forces who was very close to this area were sent, but mainly these guys are doing their own job. They're storming Solidar, Bakhmut. They know they have their job, and they don't want to do the job for other armies. If we're talking about Donetsk, the same picture. Let's take a look at the Russian sources map. There is a few updates, and for the most important updates from Donetsk district is that the Russians managed to, as you can see, clear this area. There were a lot of trenches. There was the biggest fortifications. Now the Russians are moving and trying to storm Oputnaya from many sides, like from Piesky, from Spartak. Also, we got update that the Ukrainians started their own counter-offensive operation in Piesky, and some Ukrainian Telegram channels provide information that the Ukrainians managed to take back Piesky. And then first we got update from the Russians that there were nothing like this, but later we got update that the Ukrainians, using up to 1 battalion and maybe 10 or 20 tanks, were tried to crack this net, but they were defeated under artillery fire and were forced to move from their main position. We see that this situation near Donetsk, this situation near Slavyansk, Bakhmut, like Balaklia, Izum, Balagan, and so on. And another important update that some Russian sources that sooner or later the Ukrainians or should prepare the third line of attack, the third direction. And some Russian sources are saying that the Ukrainians maybe are planning to start a third attack in Zaporozhye region in direction of Volnovakha, Mariupol. Or, as we saw today, in direction of Peske, trying to return control over this town, over these trenches, or this fortification one more time. So maybe it's speculation or fake, and maybe the Ukrainians just try to pin down the Russians and to force them to keep some reinforcement in this area. I don't think that the Ukrainians are able to start, because now they understand that they're not on the safe side, because they see that they understand that they really might be defeated in Balaklia. And in this case, they need to keep their forces on the front lines and not to allow the Russians to penetrate the defense if they will be defeated in this area. Also, we got a lot of updates from Kherson area. Today we got some information that Ukrainians, at least Zelensky, ordered to move the artillery system, everything they have from this direction of Kharkiv, to develop and to proceed this expansion. But today the Russians reporting that they managed to catch some talks using Ukrainian radio, and they were talking about upcoming offensive operation in this area. The Ukrainians also brought a lot of infantry. Mainly, this is not going to be any armored vehicles offensive operation. It's going to be just like infantry offensive operation, like thousands of infantry who will cross the front line and attack South Kherson district from many directions. So the Russians also keep some forces there, and they're expecting like the soon upcoming the offensive operation on the south. As you can see, the situation is critical, but anyway, this situation is much more better than we used to see during the previous months, because what we saw during the previous months, I can't even tell that it was like something interesting. It was everyday reports and no progress, just the numbers without any understanding of what's going on. And the situation that we see right now is the best ever situation for the Russians, because this situation gives them opportunity to stop everything and to complete everything. And from the other side, this situation gives the opportunity for Ukrainians to do the same, to finish this situation, to defeat the Russians in the north, to return their territories, and to start negotiations. Anyway, I suppose and I think after this battle, we're going to see some negotiations in this year, because anyway this battle is going to finish. The Ukrainians are able to win, the Russians are able to win, but anyway this is going to be the final battle this year. Maybe the next year we're going to see more battles, but before the winter I suppose that we are going to see the first negotiations. And mainly these negotiations will be about the gas, about supply, about support. They need to do something to understand that they need to survive this winter, both sides, the Ukrainians and the Russians as well, they need to do this. So let's see. And that's it for today. Military Summer channel reminded we condemn any violence in Ukraine. Thank you for watching, subscribe to my channel, put your likes, join my Patreon, and have a good day. And tomorrow with patrons we're going to discuss this counter-offensive operation in more details. Start from the very beginning, maybe we'll even touch some Kherson operation, and we will try to analyze, understand, and build some projections what is going to be next. Bye bye, have a good weekend.